Hello and welcome to episode 10, the question of business. How can questions help us in our business, in our careers, in our jobs? When I think about it, there's really three kinds of people at work, right? There's the employee, the manager or supervisor, and then there's the CEO or owner, the person at the top. And you might be all three because you might be an owner of your own business, you might have employees, you also might maybe report, even if you're a CEO, you might report to a board. So sometimes we fit all of those categories. One of the things I've learned over my years in business is that people have a misconception of why someone is unhappy, why they leave a company, why they're not fulfilled in their job. And most often we think it's money, right? And sure, we all like to make more money. But what I've found is that the reason most people are unhappy at work, or the reason most people change jobs, is because they don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel like they matter. They don't feel like what they're doing has a purpose. And often that comes down to communication, because they don't feel like they fit in because no one's helping them understand where they fit in the puzzle that is the business. And so communication is vital, and it doesn't matter what level you're at as the employee or the supervisor or the guy on the top, communication is key. And I admit, there's usually a problem with the communication as it flows down from a supervisor to an employee. But it's a two-way street, and often there's almost no communication coming up. So if you're an employee and you're not happy or you feel unfulfilled in your job, my challenge to you is, what questions are you asking about how you can better communicate up? So maybe it's a question like, how can I show my boss the things that I need or the things that our department needs to be more successful? How can I communicate with my boss of the things that we're trying to do and understand where we fit into the bigger picture of the company? How can I create better communication with my supervisor and the other departments? See, if you ask these kinds of questions, it changes the way you go about your day. If you ask different questions when you get to work, how can I take the things that are on my plate today and make them fun? How can I approach my job today as if this were the best, most productive, fun thing I could do today? Change the questions you ask, get different answers, and engage your team, your peers, other people to help figure out a way to make life and work more fun. That's the whole purpose of this thing. Because here's the key. Asking the right questions in business isn't about you. It's about others. If you put them first, if you ask, how can I help my team? How can I help my employees do better at their jobs? What can I do to make sure they have the tools and the resources they need to be better and do better at their jobs? Guess what? They'll do better at their jobs, which makes your company, your team, your department succeed. And ultimately, that's the whole goal of a company, is to succeed. And when you're at the top, when you're the CEO or the president, oftentimes that's about your clients and your customers as well as your employees. So ask different questions. It's not about, well, how can we do better on the bottom line or save more money? All of those things are important and they're part of business, but what if you change the focus a little bit? What if you ask the question, what do my customers need? And how can we better serve them? There's one last part of business that's important, and it doesn't matter what level you work at, and that is this art of listening. Because it's not just asking the right questions, it's being able to listen to the answers. And sometimes we're so caught up in our own thoughts on our own things and the things that we're worried about that listening isn't a key or isn't a skill that most people have. But it is a key to success. It's a key to success in life as well as business, because it's so important in business. And you can ask yourself different questions to help you be a better listener. I know it sounds crazy, but when you're talking to someone, most of us are always already thinking about what we're going to say next or what our response is going to be. And if we can get that out of our head and just focus on what the person is saying, our act of listening and the interchange that we're going to have and the things that we're going to get from that conversation are so much more. And to do that, it's pretty simple. You can ask yourself questions as you start to have a conversation with someone. How can I pay attention to what this person is saying? How can I make sure I focus on what they're trying to tell me? What lessons can I learn from this conversation? What are the main points this person is trying to get across? And it's not about how do I answer them or how do I come back. It's just focused on, what is this person saying? What can I learn from it? What's the main purpose of this conversation? So what's next? What do we tackle now? We talked about the power of questions in our lives, and we talked about how it happens in business. And as we think about what we want and being happy in our lives, we're talking about being successful in every area. And there's one key to being successful, no matter what your job is, no matter what your goal is, no matter what area of your life. There's one key to being successful. And we're going to talk about that next on 24.